Hello and welcome to the Mastermind semi-finals with me, Clive Myrie. In the spotlight tonight are Catherine Garn, an HR officer. Her specialist subject is the films of Mel Brooks. Arnav Umranika, a medical student who will be answering questions on Homer's Odyssey. Rupam Carroll, a small business owner whose specialist subject is the hip-hop artist LL Cool J. And John Harden, a school administrator. His subject is the Rumpole stories of Sir John Mortimer. You never really get used to the black chair, the relentless ticking down of the clock, the interrogator's light shining in your eyes. Yes, our contenders tonight have survived the heats and know a little bit about the strain. But these are the semi-finals, and the pressure has been ratcheted up quite a bit. A place in the grand final is at stake, and ultimately the chance to proclaim yourself a Mastermind champion. 2 minutes of specialist subject questions and 2.5 minutes on general knowledge will decide who goes through. So, can I ask our first semi-finalist to join us, please? Your name?
Catherine Garn.
Your occupation?
HR officer.
And your specialist subject?
The films of Mel Brooks.
The feature films released between 1967 and 1995, directed by the American writer and comedian. In 2 minutes, here we go. Which cast member is the only person whose voice is heard in the 1976 comedy Silent Movie when he speaks a single word over the telephone?
Marcel Marceau.
Yes, in The Producers, the play Springtime for Hitler is subtitled A Gay Romp with Adolf and Eva at where?
Berchtesgaden.
Yes, in Robin Hood, Men in Tights, Robert Ridgely's performance as a hangman is a reprise of a character he played in which earlier Mel Brooks film?
Blazing Saddles.
Yes, what was the name of the special effects technician who received special thanks in the opening credits of Young Frankenstein for loaning the production his original Frankenstein laboratory equipment?
Kenneth Strickfaden.
Yes, in the 1987 Star Wars parody Spaceballs, what flavour of jam is used to jam the radar of the giant spaceship Spaceball 1?
Raspberry.
Yes, in High Anxiety, Brooks's character, the psychiatrist Dr. Richard Thorndike, is given a hotel room on which floor, despite having asked for nothing higher than the third?
17.
Yes, in the 12 Chairs, a banner on the side of a van belonging to the Columbus Repertory Theatre advertises a play by William Shakespeare and Ivan Popov entitled Hamlet and the what?
October Revolution.
Yes, in Life Stinks, the property developer Goddard Bolt takes a bet that he can't survive in a Los Angeles slum without any money or identifying himself for how many days?
30.
Yes, in Young Frankenstein, Marty Feldman's Igor tells Gene Wilder's Frederick that he's almost sure the owner of the brain he stole had what name?
Abby Normal.
Yes, in the French Revolution sequence of History of the World Part 1, outdoor scenes such as the king playing chess were filmed on location in the grounds of which British stately home?
Blenheim Palace.
Yes, in Robin Hood, Men in Tights, after their leader, played by Cary Elwes, has been arrested, the merry men attach a letter to what animal and instruct it to deliver the message to the village?
A fox.
Yes, in the 1995 horror comedy Dracula, Dead and Loving It, which actress plays the old gypsy woman, Madame Uspenskaya, who insists on the hapless Renfield taking a cross for protection and then charges him 15 kopecks for it?
Anne Bancroft.
It is Anne Bancroft. And at the end of that round, Catherine, you had no passes. You've got 12 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name?
Arnav Umranika.
Your occupation?
Medical student.
And your specialist subject?
Homer's Odyssey.
Yes, the 24-book epic poem of ancient Greece in translation by Robert Fagles. In 2 minutes, here we go. The Odyssey tells how Odysseus, who has spent 10 years fighting the Trojans, takes another 10 years to return to his wife Penelope, his son Telemachus, and to his kingdom, on which island?
Ithaca.
Yes, in Book 1, which sparkling-eyed goddess asks Zeus to help Odysseus escape from the island of Ogygia, where he has been detained by the seductive nymph Calypso?
Athena.
Yes, Odysseus tells the Phaeacians how he and his men were trapped inside the cave of the Cyclops, Polyphemus, who ate 6 of Odysseus's men, the first 2 of whom he washed down with what drink?
Wine.
No, it was raw milk, who is referred to by the Spartan king Menelaus as the old man of the sea who never lies.
Proteus.
Yes, during Odysseus' absence, Penelope is besieged by 108 swaggering young men who wish to marry her in order to claim the throne. And of these suitors, 52 were said to come from which island?
Dulichian.
Yes, among the gifts presented to Penelope by the suitors is a richly wrought gilded necklace that is strung with what substance?
Amber.
Yes, on the island of Aeaea, the sorceress Circe turns Odysseus' men into swine after adding her wicked drugs to a potion of pale honey, barley, Pramnian wine, and what other foodstuff?
Wine.
No, cheese. What grisly monster is described by Circe as having 12 legs all writhing, dangling down, and 6 long swaying necks, a hideous head on each?
Scylla.
Yes, after Penelope tells the suitors that she'll marry the man who can shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads. The first man to attempt the feat is Enopsis' son, who has what name?
Leodes.
Yes. What's the name of Odysseus' old hunting dog who, on recognizing his master, after 20 years' absence, wags his tail, drops his ears, and dies?
Argos.
Yes, when Odysseus finally reaches Ithaca, Athena tells him that the first person he must visit is his swineherd Eumaeus, who will be found tending his animals by a spring with what name?
Arethusa.
It is Arethusa. And if you had no passes at the end of that round, you've got 9 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name,
Rupam Carroll,
your occupation,
small business owner,
and your specialist subject.
LL Cool J.
The American rapper and actor born James Todd Smith in New York in 1968. In 2 minutes. Here we go. After meeting with the producer Rick Rubin, LL Cool J recorded a studio version of what track, which became the rapper's first official release?
I Need a Beat.
Yes, in his autobiography, LL Cool J credits which friend with whom he wrote rhymes with suggesting Ladies Love as part of his stage name?
Playboy Mikey D.
Yes, what's the title of the song co-written by LL Cool J for the soundtrack of the 1999 film Deep Blue Sea, in which he frequently raps the line, "My hat is like a shark's fin"?
Lucy.
No, Deepest Bluest. Which hip-hop DJ produced LL Cool J's 4th studio album, Mama Said Knock You Out, a commercial and critical success following some negative reaction to the previous album, Walking with a Panther?
Marley Marl.
Yes, which Californian rapper is a featured artist on the LL Cool J song Proclivities, released as a single from his 2024 album The Force?
Saweetie.
Yes, what's the name of the artist who created a sculpture of LL Cool J entitled Going Back to the Meadows, which was installed in New York in 2021?
Basquiat.
No, Sherwin Banfield. In the final verse of the 1990 song Around the Way Girl, LL Cool J lists 4 women's names, Lisa, Angela, Pamela, and which other, before telling them he loves them?
Renee.
Yes, what's the surname of the special agent whom LL Cool J began playing in 2009 in the television franchise NCIS, most notably in its spin-off series Los Angeles, and more recently, Hawaii?
Sam Hanna.
Yes, after winning a Grammy Award for Mama Said Knock You Out in 1992, LL Cool J was presented with a second Grammy 5 years later for what other song featuring vocals from Boyz II Men?
Hey Lover.
Yes, LL Cool J stars as Jason St. Julian in what 1995 film directed by Debbie Allen, with whom he also starred in the television sitcom In the House?
Pass.
What's the title of the diss track reportedly aimed at the rapper Kool Moe Dee, which was the B-side to LL Cool J's 1988 single Going Back to Cali?
I'm Bad.
No, it's Jack the Ripper. Rupam, you had just a 1 pass. LL Cool J stars as Jason St. Julian in the 1995 film directed by Debbie Allen, Out of Sync.
Yeah.
And at the end of that round, Rupam, you've got 7 points.
Thank you.
And our final contender, please. Your name,
John Harden.
your occupation,
I'm a school administrator.
And your specialist subject?
The Rumpole stories of Sir John Mortimer.
Yes, the tales of the irascible defence barrister whose principal haunts are the Old Bailey and Pomeroy's wine bar, and whose credo is never plead guilty. In 2 minutes. Here we go. What's the first name of Horace Rumpole's long-suffering wife, whom he privately calls she who must be obeyed, although he makes strenuous efforts to avoid doing any such thing?
Hilda.
Yes, in Rumpole and the Alternative Society. What's the name of the cooperative community that has been set up at 34 Balaclava Road, Cold Sands?
Nirvana.
Yes, in Rumpole and the Showfolk, Rumpole's former clerk, Albert Handyside, secures him a willful murder defence brief at the Assizes in what fictional town in the north of England?
Grimble.
Yes, which QC takes over as head of chambers on the retirement of Rumpole's father-in-law, C.H. Whiston, much to the disappointment of Mrs. Rumpole?
Guthrie Featherstone.
Yes, after Hilda decrees that Rumpole must lose weight, Dr. McClintock prescribes what slimming aid for him?
Finovite.
Yes, in Rumpole and the Camberwell Carrot, what fictional daily newspaper sends its star reporter, Angela Ilsley, to a party at the house of Dr. Tom Gurnley MP in order to try to discredit him?
Daily Beacon.
Yes, which of his learned colleagues attempts to serve Rumpole with an application for an antisocial behaviour order for his habit of eating, drinking, singing and smoking in chambers?
Erskine Brown.
Yes, what's the name of Dodo McIntosh's dog whom the Rumpoles are looking after while she's on holiday in Rumpole and the Way Through the Woods?
Sir Lancelot.
Yes, Rumpole is put on trial before the Bar Council for speaking to his client during a recess in proceedings and for his insulting remarks made during a trial to which judge?
Oliver Oliphant.
Yes, in Rumpole and the Soothsayer. What's the name of the ancient chief of the Sioux Indians who lost his life at the Battle of the Little Bighorn, who's the supposed spirit guide of the medium Roderick Arengo Smythe?
White Owl.
Yes, at which cathedral's ecclesiastical court does Rumpole defend the Reverend Timothy Donkin, who stands accused of having a woman in his bedroom, which is considered to be conduct unbecoming?
Dorchester.
Yes, what's the name of the specialist in the field of forensic medicine, sometimes referred to by Rumpole as the Master of the Morgues, who gives expert testimony in the case of a long-buried wife in Rumpole and the remembrance of things past?
Professor Ackerman.
It is Professor Andrew Ackerman. John, at the end of that round, no passes, you've got 12 points.
Thank you.
And at the end of the specialist subjects round in this semi-final, let's have a look at the scores. In fourth place with 7 points, it's Rupam. In third place with 9 points, it's Arnav. And in joint first place with 12 points each, it's Catherine and John. So now it's the general knowledge round. And if there's a tie at the end, then the number of passes is taken into account. And the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, it's a tie break. So let's ask Rupam to join us again, please. Rupam, you start with 7 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Here we go. What word for a delicate type of fabric is also the name for a thin strip of material similar to string that's threaded through the eyelets of a shoe and tied at the ends to tighten the fit?
Lace.
Yes. Which novel by George Orwell features rival totalitarian states called Oceania, Eurasia and Eastasia?
1984.
Yes, the Court of Tynwald is the parliament of which island in the Irish Sea?
Douglas.
No, the Isle of Man. Which American singer and actress had a UK #1 single in September 2024 with the song Taste from her chart-topping album Short and Sweet?
Taylor Swift.
No, Sabrina Carpenter. The headquarters of the Euronext stock exchange are in which Dutch city?
Amsterdam.
Yes, the name of what small migratory game bird is also a word meaning to shrink back in fear or terror?
Shirk.
No, quail. Which metallic element with the atomic number 89 and the chemical symbol AC glows blue in the dark because of its high level of radioactivity?
Actinium.
Yes, which actress who plays Daenerys Targaryen in the television series Game of Thrones was made an MBE in the 2024 New Year's Honours List for services to people with brain injuries?
Pass.
The word piano is a shortening of what early name for the instrument that combines the Italian for soft and loud?
Pianoforte.
Yes, what's the name of the visitor attraction in Bethnal Green, East London, previously called the Museum of Childhood, which won the 2024 Art Fund Museum of the Year award?
The Toy Museum.
No, the Young V&A. Mick the Miller, Ballyregan Bob and Westmead Hawk were famous names in which sport?
Golf.
No, greyhound racing. What word derived from the Latin for fire is used in geology to describe rocks such as granite and pumice that are formed by the solidification of magma?
Pyroclastic.
No, igneous. Which British-born filmmaker won the Oscar for Best Director for his 2023 film Oppenheimer?
Christopher Nolan.
Yes, the annual Troop in the Colours ceremony takes place on a Saturday in which month of the year?
August.
No, June. What was the name of the self-declared republic which, from 1967 to 1970, fought an unsuccessful war for independence from Nigeria?
Zimbabwe.
No, Biafra. The 100-foot-tall steel sculptures modelled on a pair of horses' heads created by Andy Scott and located in the Helix Park just outside Falkirk in Scotland are known by what name?
The Kelpies.
It is the Kelpies. Rupam, you had just a one pass. Emilia Clarke is the actress, yes, who plays Daenerys Targaryen, and she won an MBE for her work with people with brain injuries. At the end of that round, Rupam, you've got 14 points.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, it's Arnav. Arnav, you start with 9 points. The score to beat as it stands is 14 points. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Here we go. During the 20th century, the WRNS, also known as the Wrens, was the women's branch of which of the UK's armed services?
The RAF.
No, the Royal Navy. The pioneering French surgeon Alain Carpentier is known for his invention of an artificial implantable version of which vital organ?
The heart.
Yes, in 1963, the London-born brothers Ray and Dave Davies formed what rock band originally known as the Ravens with their friend Peter Quaife?
The Sex Pistols.
No, the Kinks. Two wild creatures native to Europe and the Middle East, both known as the mouflons, are thought to be ancestors of what domesticated mammal?
Cat.
No, sheep. At the 2024 Paralympics, which British cyclist won her 18th and 19th gold medals in individual time trial and road race events?
Laura Kenny.
No, Sarah Story. The Eternal City is a nickname for which European capital city?
Rome.
Yes, which actor won a BAFTA in 2024 for his role in the television drama Succession as the ambitious media executive Tom Wamsgans?
Matthew McFadden.
Yes, which 19th century German composer wrote the oratorio Elijah, first performed in Birmingham in 1846?
Wagner.
No, Mendelssohn. In January 2024, Joseph Boakai was sworn in as the successor to the former footballer George Weah as president of which West African country?
Liberia.
Yes, which British filmmaker directed the Oscar-winning dramas Darling, released in 1965, and Midnight Cowboy in 1970?
Hitchcock.
No, John Schlesinger. Morado is the Spanish word for what colour?
Brown.
No, purple. In the name of the CAA, the authority in the UK responsible for regulating air passenger transport, the first letter A stands for what word?
Airports.
No, aviation. In the traditional nursery rhyme, which character was a merry old soul and called for his pipe, his bowl and his fiddlers three?
Proteus.
No, Old King Cole. What French word meaning bent is used in ballet for a practice exercise that involves the bending of the knees?
Épée.
No, plié. The technology company executives Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg all attended which American Ivy League university?
Harvard.
Yes, during the English Civil War, members of the New Model Army, led by Oliver Cromwell, were known collectively by what name, a reference to their short haircuts?
Roundheads.
Yes, an isohyet is a line on a map that connects points that experience an equal amount of what common weather phenomenon?
Rain.
Yes. And that's the end of the round. Arnav, you had no passes. You've got 16 points.
Thank you.
Next up, it's Catherine. Catherine, you start with 12 points. The score to beat as it stands is 16 points, and you've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Here we go. Raisins are a dried form of what fruit?
Grapes.
Yes, postcodes beginning with the letters LS cover addresses in and around which city in northern England?
Leeds.
Yes, which former winner of Strictly Come Dancing has presented television documentaries with titles consisting of her name followed by On the Psych Ward, Inside the Convent and Inside the Undertakers, among others?
Stacey Dooley.
Yes, in Hilaire Belloc's cautionary tales for children, what's the name of the girl who told such dreadful lies?
Matilda.
Yes, the standard UK version of the board game Scrabble contains a total of how many letter tiles, including the blanks?
72.
No, 100. Which British scientist was awarded the 1964 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for her use of X-ray crystallography to determine the atomic structure of certain molecules?
Dorothy Hodgkin.
Yes, which American golfer won his second major in a year with victory in the British Open in July 2024?
Rory McIlroy.
No, Xander Schauffele. The religious radio program Choral Evensong, first broadcast in 1926, was moved in 1970 from Radio 4 to which other national BBC radio station?
Radio 2.
No, Radio 3. What word meaning disdainful or contemptuous is derived from the Latin word for eyebrow in reference to the haughty raising of an eyebrow?
Imperious.
No, supercilious. What 1971 film directed by Nicholas Roeg stars Jenny Agutter as one of two siblings stranded in the Australian outback?
Walkabout.
Yes, the orchestral interlude The Flight of the Bumblebee was written by which Russian composer?
Rimsky-Korsakov.
Yes, which Scottish Order of Chivalry has the motto Nemo me impune lacessit, meaning no one harms me with impunity?
Order of the Thistle.
Yes, the Devil's Cataract and the Eastern Cataract are two of the main features of which major waterfalls in southern Africa?
Angel Falls.
No, Victoria Falls. Which British band were one of the headline acts at the Glastonbury Festival for a fifth time when they appeared on the Pyramid stage in June 2024?
Coldplay.
Yes, the socialite Emily Temple, the wife of the UK Prime Minister Lord Palmerston, was the sister of which other Whig politician who'd also held the same office?
Robert Peel.
No, Lord Melbourne. Which painting by J.M.W. Turner is a depiction of the last journey? I've started, so I'll finish. Which painting by J.M.W. Turner is a depiction of the last journey of a warship, which had played an important role in the Battle of Trafalgar, being towed along the River Thames to be scrapped?
The Fighting Temeraire.
It is the Fighting Temeraire. Catherine, you had no passes at the end of that round. You've got 22 points.
Thank you.
And finally, let's have John again, please. John, you start with 12 points, the score to beat to get through to the Mastermind Grand Finalists. Catherine's 22 points. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Here we go. The abbreviation UTD in the name of a football club stands for what word?
United.
Yes, which Warner Brothers cartoon character has the title role in the early animated shorts A Wild Hare, Super Rabbit and The Rabbit of Seville?
Bugs Bunny.
Yes, Warren Christopher served for 4 years as US Secretary of State during the first term of office of which American president?
Ronald Reagan.
No, Bill Clinton. What flower, known in Japanese as kiku, is depicted on the crest of the Japanese imperial family?
Chrysanthemum.
Yes, Meat-Free Mexican is a 2022 cookbook by which restaurateur, food writer and former winner of the television show MasterChef?
Myers.
Yes, the Gulf of Sidra is an indentation into the coast of which North African country?
Libya.
Yes, which American dancer and actress starred opposite Fred Astaire in 10 films from 1933 to 1949, including Swing Time, Shall We Dance and The Barclays of Broadway?
Ginger Rogers.
Yes, which UK airport officially recognised by the International Air Transport Association in 2012 as London's 6th airport is designated by the code SEN?
Stansted.
No, Southend. The word octophile is defined as a person who likes and collects what type of stuffed toys?
Teddy Bear.
Yes, what surname, after a character in a poem by Sir Walter Scott, was adopted by Frederick Bailey, the 19th century African-American writer who escaped from slavery and became a leader of the abolitionist movement and statesman?
Rob Roy?
No, Douglas. In the 1970s and 80s, The Man with the Child in His Eyes, Babushka and Cloud Busting were among the many UK hit singles for which British singer?
Kate Bush?
Yes, at the start of a game of chess. How many of the 64 squares on the board are unoccupied?
32.
Yes, the main campus at the University of Suffolk is in which town?
Ipswich?
Yes, the 1817 opera La Cenerentola by Rossini is a retelling of what fairy tale about a mistreated young woman who marries a prince?
Cinderella?
Yes, which writer succeeded John Masefield as UK Poet Laureate in 1968 and held the role until his death 4 years later?
Cecil Day-Lewis?
Yes, in Greek mythology, what's the name of the god of sleep, the father of Morpheus and other sons collectively known as the bringers of dreams?
Neptune?
No, it's Hypnos. John, at the end of that round, you had no passes, but you've done it. 24 points. You're through to the Mastermind Grand Final.
Well, thank you very much.
So let's have a look at the final scores. In fourth place with 14 points, it's Rupam. In third place with 16 points, it's Arnav. In second place with 22 points, it's Catherine, which means in first place with 24 points, it's John. So he goes through to the grand final. Congratulations to him. If you'd like to be a contender in the next series, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. Join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Extremely surprised. I literally came on thinking I might be able to do quite well in a heat. I never expected to find myself in a semi-final, let alone winning one.
And your specialist subject?
The Rumpole stories of Sir John Mortimer. I really enjoyed revising my specialist subject, although it is quite like being back at school again to some degree, cramming for exams.
John, at the end of that round, you had no passes, but you've done it. 24 points. You're through to the Mastermind Grand Final.
Thank you very much. I originally applied, but was unable to appear last year, as very sadly my wife died just as we were about to broadcast. I do believe if Caroline knew I'd made it through to the grand final, that she would be genuinely surprised. It was really Caroline that sort of egged me on to come on Mastermind because she got fed up with me shouting at the television. And she said, basically, if you think you're so clever, go and try it. So it's thanks to her. This one's for you, darling.